everyone, this is Kayla with Becky's Graphic Design in Nashville, Tennessee. Today I'm going to show you how to use your new interior template that you've just purchased from us. Today we are going to start by looking at, this site is called Utorify. This is where we distribute and sell all of our large InDesign files. That's where our templates come from. We host them here on this platform. If we navigate over to the Products tab, we can see here are all of our graphic design products. Some of them are free, some of them are resources or checklists, things like that. We also do have specific templates for specific items. For the sake of this example, I'm going to show you the 6x9 interior template. So if you click on this, we can look at the product page. Now you can see the price tag here. When you go ahead and purchase and download this file, it will go to your downloads folder on your machine. You will also receive an email confirming that you purchased the item. So let's switch over now to our File Explorer. All right, so whenever you have decided where you would like to place your downloaded zip folder, we are going to right-click on it, and then we will extract all. We're just going to go ahead and let this extract directly into the folder. Now, what I recommend is making a duplicate of this before you get started, in case you want to start over. You want to make another book one day, I don't know. I just always recommend you make a copy of this for safekeeping so you can keep using it. At the same time, however, if you did forget this step, I believe you could go back to utorify.com and re-download the zip folder again. It should be available to you to download at any time. Unless you checked out as a guest, that may not work the same. If you have an account with them, I'm pretty sure you can re-download. All that being said, let's go ahead and do that copy. So I'm just going to take this whole unzipped folder here. I'm going to copy and paste it. And let's go ahead and just name this backup, just so I know what it is. All right, next, let's go ahead and open up our primary folder here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give this a name. That way I know what I'm dealing with. So let's go ahead and name this 6x9 novel interior. Just do the name of the book. Very good. All right, now when we open this up, we will see that I have included a preview PDF. That way you kind of know what this file is supposed to look like. We flip through this, we can see quickly an overview of what is contained inside of the zip folder in the InDesign document. And I also have a rights and restrictions text file here. That's just so y'all can't go and redistribute this and sell it on your own. All right, next, let's go ahead and open up our InDesign file. All right, so when we scroll up to the top, we can see we have some front matter here. We've got the half title page, the full title page, copyright dedication, our table of contents, and then we've got some sample chapters that also contain instruction. Now, if you're not very familiar with InDesign, I would highly recommend that you actually do read through this instructional chapter. This will teach you some basic things about how to use paragraph styles, how to use character styles, how to interact with images, bullet points, anything you might need. This is going to be a really helpful chapter for you, so don't just delete this immediately. You might want to save it for reference. All right, and then we just have some other sample stuff. So what do we need to do to import a custom manuscript into this template? So to get started, let's look at our sample manuscript that we're going to be using for this project. Number one, we need to make sure we're familiar with what's in that manuscript. So as I start to scroll through this manuscript, I'm in dark mode, so it looks gray. We can see that it's a pretty simple. It looks like we've got basic text, we've got some chapter titles, we've got some separators. I believe I added some Yep, I added an image in here for sample's sake. And then I think I also added a bullet list somewhere in here. Let's make sure we find that. There it is. Yeah, so we got a bullet list. And then as you can see, we've got quite a few chapters in here. This goes on and on and on and on and on. So what would we do if we wanted to import specifically this manuscript into our new InDesign template? Number one, I gotta close my manuscript because InDesign won't let me import it while it's open in your text editor. So let's go ahead and just drop down here to this page. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete what's on this page right here. Now I want to check what my cursor is currently resting in. I need to check to make sure this is a clean cursor or make sure that there's not a style pre-applied to it. In order to do that, we are going to utilize the paragraph panel over here on the side. Now, if your InDesign workspace does not look like mine, double check that you are in the book workspace. This is going to help you interact with the proper tools you might need for a book document. So like I was saying, let us check our paragraph style. So when I open up the paragraph panel, we can see that I have pre-applied the style of body to my current cursor. So that means that anything I import right now is going to be applied the body style. Now, for importing purposes, I want to go ahead and apply the basic paragraph style. What you don't want to do is accidentally apply, say, I don't know, chapter number or chapter title or whatever to your manuscript as it comes in. It will make everything look really funny. So make sure you have basic paragraph checked. And then also double check your character styles. Make sure that you have a character style of none and you don't accidentally bring everything in preset to bold or whatever. All right, next, we're going to go up to File, Place, and we are going to place our document here. Now we are going to check the Show Import Options button down here. When this dialog box opens up, we're going to see quite a few options. Now, this is going to vary a little bit depending on your projects. If you have footnotes or endnotes, you want to make sure that you do check those if you want them to import with your manuscript. I don't have any of those in my manuscript, so I'm going to uncheck that. So typographer's quotes, yes, I do want to use those. Those are the fancier looking curly quotes that you see in a typical novel. If we don't check that box, some of the quotes will come in as straight quote bars. So I do want to have that option checked. Next, we want to preserve the styles and formatting from the text and tables. Now, this is a custom thing that I like to do. I do not prefer to keep manual page breaks in. However, if you would like to keep your page breaks, you can use this option and then your page breaks will come in with your manuscript. I would like to keep my illustration in there, so I'm going to import the inline graphics. I do not need tracked changes to come in. This is going to be if you have comments or any unaccepted tracked changes in your manuscript. I don't need that. Convert bullets and numberings to text. So we do not want to use that option. We want our bullet and number lists to stay dynamic, to be live. We don't want those to be turned into a flattened image. And then this option here, import unused styles. I don't want to import all of the trashy styles that Word likes to generate by default. I want those to stay out. If you had everything already set up on your template side and you wanted to import everything very quickly and very easily, what you could do is use the custom style import. So if we click that, you can see we've got a side-by-side comparison. So every time a Microsoft Word style of normal was noticed, InDesign would replace it with body or whatever it is you decided to place in there. We don't have this necessarily set up and ready to go, so we're not going to utilize this for this project, but it is a very helpful tool if you have everything properly labeled already in Microsoft Word. All right, so we'll go back to the Import Styles Automatically option, and then we're going to click OK. It's going to tell me that I have some missing fonts. That's fine. Now, if we look, we will start to see that we have got a whole bunch more pages than we started off with. Now, why has everything been assigned this C parent? That's because that was the last page that I had when I imported everything. So it just kept on generating C's. So what you can do is select all of these pages, and we want to apply the A body style. We want to have the pages with the running headers. So when I highlight all of my pages, I can right-click on them, and I can say, Apply Parent to Pages. I'm going to apply the A body. All right, when we did that, we pulled that content up a little bit, and now we have some blank pages at the end. We'll take care of those later. All right, first, there's a couple things we got to do. Number one, I do not need to keep a hold of this stuff right here. I'll get rid of that right now. And I'm also going to go ahead and back up through all of my template pages. And we're going to start with chapter 1, immediately following my table of contents. Now, as you see, this pink highlight on this page, this is telling me that I am missing the font. Whatever font I had assigned in Microsoft Word isn't existing over here in InDesign, so I'm going to need to either download that font or I need to reassign it something else. So what we can do here is use a nice little trick with the change find. I'm going to use Control F to open up the find changer, and I'm going to use the GREP tab. What I'm going to do now is look for all instances of chapter, and then I'm going to look for all instances of any kind of digit. So we can use the wildcard here, any digit, and we're going to change that format to the chapter title. We're going to change all, and nothing happened. That is because our chapter is written out in all caps, and I did not do that over here. There we go. Now we have some replacements. All right, so now my chapters, they look a little different. They have just become whatever the default style was that I created for this template. What if we want to change this? So what I'm going to do now is navigate back to my paragraph styles panel, and let's modify that chapter title style. So let's kind of try to make it like I had it before. Let's do an open sans style. Let's do left aligned. Let's do it tracked out a little bit, all caps. Now, do you see that little space right there? We don't really want spaces just existing. We want everything to be intentional, and extra spaces that are just manually added can cause problems later down the road. So this manuscript is pretty simple. I don't have names of chapters, I just have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on and so forth. If you wanted to utilize the chapter number and chapter title style, you could do that. So let's say I had chapter 1, and then I had the name of chapter 1. You'll notice that as I scroll down, chapter 2 is not starting on its own page. That's because I'm utilizing the chapter title paragraph style and not the chapter number style. If I use chapter number, boom, it's jumping up to the next page. Now, another thing you'll notice is that every time you update the chapter title paragraph style, you're going to notice a change in the running headers. So I've got the name of the book over here and then the name of chapter 1. If we go back up here and we change this to dogs and cats, now you're going to see that reflected down here. These are dynamic. So the chapter title style is tied specifically to this text variable. Now let's say I don't want to utilize this style at all. What are we going to do? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that and change this back to chapter 1. And change this back to the chapter title style. I want this paragraph style to occur always on its own next page. So we're going to go in and modify that chapter title style. We're going to go to the keep options, and we're going to start that paragraph always on the next page. Very good. So now as we scroll through the book, we're going to see that the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. These are always starting on the next page now, and that's what I want it to do. Here's something to talk about. We've got an image here. Now, if I highlight things, you're going to see that that image is coming in as an inline image, meaning that it's being treated like text. It's not really being treated like an image frame. So what do we do with this image when we want to style it for InDesign? We can see, if you look real close, there actually is a blinking cursor in here, which means I'm able to highlight that whole thing. What we want to do with our images is assign them an inline image style that I have here. Now what this is going to do is add a little bit of space above and below the image. If I get rid of all of the unnecessary blanks, we're going to see that that image now is being treated as the text. For example, if I scoot this along, the image is going to basically flow along with your text frames just the way that any other kind of text would. It's very convenient if you have a lot of images, you're making a memoir, a historical book, or maybe you have a fantasy book with a lot of illustrations in it. This is very useful because it means that you don't have to manually move that image around every time that you add or remove text from the document. It will simply flow along as it needs to. Now what happens if we need a caption for our image? On the line below, what we can do is utilize the image caption style that I have. Now the image caption is set to always remain with the image no matter what. So for example, let's do this. Now if I again add some space characters, the moment that caption jumps off the page, the image is going to stick with it. Always, always, that caption style will remain with the image so long as they're right next to each other. If we want to size down that image a little bit, I recommend using the scale tool at the top of the page. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Very good. Now here's something interesting. This is the bullet list that I generated earlier. I do not have any idea why these are appearing as the letter Y. But let's go ahead and assign the bullet paragraph style that I have created for this template. Over here in the paragraph styles panel, I'm going to utilize my body bullet style, and that's it. Your bullets are ready to go. What do we do with the separators? What are these? It looks like these are just 3 bullets side by side. If you click Alt-7, yeah, those are bullets. So what do we want to do with these? I want to apply a separator style to these because whenever it comes time to export this book for an ebook, these breaks here are not going to stay. Ebooks take out all extraneous white space. Carriage returns, tabs, additional space characters, those are not going to stick around. In order to maintain the spacing that I want, I'm going to have to utilize that separator style. If I go ahead and assign that, we can see that I have generated a dotted line for my separator. What I'm going to do is just get rid of those bullet characters that exist there. I'm going to add an invisible space, space, space just for my own sake. It's a little easier to find that. And then this is what this will look like now. How do we do this quickly? To go ahead and assign styles to all of our separators, let's open up our Find Change again. And let's look for one of those separators. It is very easy to simply copy and paste things over into the Find Change. I can simply highlight this line, copy it, and paste it over here. It's going to automatically convert it into what I need to find in the code format. What I'm going to do is change that to a space, 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 and I'm going to tell it to change the format to the separator. I'm going to go ahead and change all. Very good. All right. Now we don't have any more manual bullet points. All right, a few more things we got to do here. Number one, I have a special style made up for the body first title with a drop cap on it. The drop cap, you don't have to have the drop cap if you don't want to. If you don't want the drop cap, just go ahead and use body first. But I do have the drop cap for the chapter title pages if you want to use it. Now, I have a special tool that can help me very quickly do this. And you can get it too. It's free to download. There is a script called Fix Paragraph Pairs. Now, I have a video on this script. If you're not familiar with scripts, don't freak out, it's fine. Scripts are just an additional feature you can add to InDesign, usually for free, and I have lots of videos on scripts. Go watch the one I have. I'll put a card for it here. Go download this script and it will help you quickly style everything in your document. I'm going to go ahead and launch the script. Now what I'm looking for is all chapter titles followed by anything. And I want that to change to chapter titles followed by body first title. Now, as you can see, nothing happened. And that's because we have a bunch of extraneous white space. So this paragraph was changed to body first title, but there's nothing in it until you start typing. So in order for our fixed paragraph styles pairs to work, we have to first get rid of all the extraneous white space. Now, before we do that, automatically with a script, make sure that you have caught all intentional page breaks, all intentional anything, because we're going to get rid of all of them. We're going to get rid of tabs, we're going to get rid of double spaces, we're going to get rid of everything. So what I'm going to do is highlight all the text that I want to apply this to. And I'm going to go ahead and run. This is another script, another free one you can go download. This script is called CleanSpace. Now, I do have a script download packet for free on Utorify. It will contain some of these scripts that you can use in your books. All right, so when I launch this, you're going to notice all of a sudden, yep, those breaks are gone. Did you notice what happened? We lost all of our separators, and that's because I put those space, space, space characters in there, right? So always do a quick review right after you run CleanSpace and make sure that you did not lose anything. I'm going to use my history tool to undo that. Temporarily, I am going to add a special character to these lines so that I can preserve them. Let's do find all space, space, space as a separator. And we're going to change that temporarily to the @ symbol because I don't believe that we have that anywhere else in the document. All right, now temporarily we're going to have this sitting here that way that we don't lose our separators. All right, now let's run CleanSpace again. Very good. And you know actually what we can do with this is just open up our separator style and tell the character color to be none. That way we can't even see those symbols, but they're still there. We're going to launch Fix P pairs. We're going to find all chapter titles followed by anything. I'm going to switch to chapter title followed by body first title. It's like we're cooking now. Oh, look, another mistake. I told chapter title to change to follow with a body title first, and look what happened up here. All right, next we're going to catch our body first styles. Now, after every instance of a separator, we want to make sure that we are using a non-indented paragraph style. So every time this happens, we want this to follow. And if we don't catch this and assign the style first before we start messing around with other stuff, everything's going to get super crazy and messy. For example, if I right-click on this and I tell it to clear all overrides, meaning clear any messy styling, put it back to the base, this is what happens. And we don't want our whole book to go all crazy and out of style. So what I'm going to do is utilize again my script, fix P pairs. We're going to look for separator, followed by anything, and use separator, followed by body first. Good. Now before we change all of this body text, very important, we want to make sure that we catch all of our italics. So look what happens here. If I clear the overrides on this, boom, what happened to my italic that was right there? Or yet again, right here, look at this. If I right-click this and clear all overrides, boom, my italics are missing. We got to make sure that we assign a character style to all of these before we start messing around with the main body. They will all get lost. So the scriptless way to do this is by using find change. You would find everything that is italic, and you would change it to the character style of italic. Change all. Good. You could do that also for bold italic, underline, any other sort of character styles that you were trying to maintain. Now, the easy way to do this is, of course, with a script again. So if we open up my scripts panel, we can see that I have a script called prep text. This script is very useful. When you first open up a manuscript, it will scrub through it and find everything. Find the bold, find the italic, find the bold italic. And it will fix everything automatically. It will go ahead and assign the styles. Now, the reason it was upset just now was because I was not highlighted in a text frame. Now we can see as we go through here. Now I'm labeled as italic every time I come to one of these. All right, one of the last things we have to do now is assign the body style. If we look at our paragraph panel, we can see that this is labeled as normal. That's one of the default styles that Word generates. We don't want that. We want to get rid of it. So once I'm sure that I have assigned everything else except for the main body, we can go ahead and delete normal and replace it with body. So what we're going to do here is just click this little trash can icon, and we're going to replace that with body. There we go. All right, now you see this is a little bit small, this is a little bit big. That's because we probably have some overrides on here. Now we want to check that. Yes. If we look over here in our paragraph style panel, you can see that body is labeled with a little plus icon. That means that there is an override on the style. We need to clean it up, let it return to the base. Basically, when there's an override, it means that somebody has assigned the style of body, but there is still a visual difference that someone has applied somewhere down the line. In order to clear all the overrides for this whole document, I'm going to use Control-A to select everything, right-click, and then click Clear All Overrides. Cool. Now, one of the really cool things about this template that I made is the based on styles. What that means is that body is the main style for our body, And then body first, body indented, body first title, and body bullets are all based on that main style. So if you want to change the font for this whole entire body document, all you got to do is change body and everything else will follow in place. So to do that, we're going to go to the body style and let's just choose a new font. Let's use one of our favorites. And we can do all the modifications we want to right here. Let's make that a little bit smaller, some bigger leading. Now, I wouldn't recommend going in and changing the other settings in this style. I have these very specially set for good novel settings. I wouldn't mess with the justification or the keep options or the hyphenations. I would leave those all the same. But anything over here on this page, you can mess with this. There we go, good. Now you'll notice that everything, including the body first title and the body firsts, these are all going to update to follow. So you might be asking, what do we do with these running headers? In order to update the running headers, we are going to go over to the A body parent page. And let's type in the name of my book over here. Sometimes you might want to add maybe your author name or something. If you want, you can do that. Now this is a text variable. This is going to always update based on whatever the current chapter title paragraph style is. When we flip back to our main pages now, we can see that the running headers are updated to follow. Now, one thing I'm going to do is reapply the A body parent pages to everything in our main document. And we really want to utilize the chapter parent page for every chapter start. We don't want the running header right here, and then to say chapter 1 and chapter 1. That doesn't look professional. So what we would do is drag this C chapter over here to every time we have a chapter start. Now, this is really time consuming if you can't tell. I have a script for this. This script is not free, but it's very, very useful. It is highly worth it. This script is called Mastermatic, and I do have a specific tutorial video for this one. This script is simply wonderful. I use it every single day. Definitely worth what I paid for it. I think it's 60 bucks. So what this tool is going to let me do is apply certain parent pages based on what's on the page. For example, I can tell Mastermatic to ignore all of my front matter pages, which is going to go up to page 8 in Roman numerals. Then we want to apply the A body generally. It's going to apply D to all the blank pages. And then every time it sees a chapter title or a chapter title next page style, it's going to apply the C chapter. So when I click OK, boom. Now our document is completely automated. Everything has been updated to match exactly how I want it to go. Beautiful. Super easy, super great. The best script I've ever bought. I love it so much. Let's go ahead and skip to the end of our book. Now, because we have Smart Text Reflow on, it has generated a bunch of blank pages at the end of the book. I'm simply going to delete these. And for sake of example, let's add an About the Author page. Now you'll notice that I have a chapter title and a chapter title next page style. The chapter title next page style is going to be specifically for non-numbered chapters. So that's going to be your foreword, your introduction, your about the author, leave a review, anything that would not be associated with a number. You want to apply the next page style, and it'll make sense in a minute when we're working with the table of contents. So let's just add a little bit of now again, I'm going to want to make sure I apply the correct type of parent page. This should be a chapter. Very good. All right. Let's scroll back up here to the top. Now, what do we do with this front matter area? So obviously, we want to update this with the name of our book. And maybe if you had a subtitle, you could add one. No subtitle for this book. Now, on a half title page, you only want the title. On the full title page, you want your title, subtitle, author name, illustrator name. Maybe you have a logo for your imprint. You can add that to this particular page. Now, this isn't very pretty with Minion selected as my font, so I can make this something fun and exciting. Make it a little fancy like that. Over here on the copyright page, this is pretty self-explanatory. You can come in here and update all of this to match your specific needs. Now, you're going to have to add your ISBN numbers in here. We always recommend that you do not take the default ISBN assigned to you from Amazon, because although it is free, that means that Amazon is now the publisher on record for your book. We recommend instead that you go to a website called myidentifiers.com. That's going to be where you can purchase your own ISBN numbers. We recommend you purchase the package of 10 because it's the most economical per ISBN to buy them in a group. That way you can assign an ISBN to your hardcover edition, your paperback edition, your ebook, and of course, when you start to write book 2 and 3, you'll already have some additional ones left over and ready to go. Additionally, you can add some information for your editor, your illustrator if you have one. You can put the edition number if you like. We do recommend that you have a contact here just in case anybody wants to get a hold of you. I do have this set up as its own style. So this is the copyright. If you want to change the font for the copyright, that's fine. You can do that. Additionally, I have a specific style for the dedication. It's basically the same as the copyright style, it's just centered. Now, this page, this is just for instructions. We don't necessarily need this. I can go ahead and just delete that, unless you haven't read it yet, then read it first. We are also going to get rid of this page right here. Now, we have a dynamically generated table of contents that already exists. We just have to place it on the page. To do that, we are going to go up to Layout, Table of Contents. Now here is the table of contents that I already have preset for this document. Now if you were using the chapter numbers and the chapter titles, this will work perfectly for you. However, I do not need to use both styles. I'll explain after a minute here. So let's go ahead and just use what I have by default. We're going to just run this right here. There we go. Now maybe I want to flow this to the next page, so I'll click that little plus icon. Just go ahead and drop that right there. Now, as you can see, this is not what we want. We don't want it to say Chapter 5, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 6. Now, if we had chapter titles like the title of the chapter, then this would work out really great. However, in this particular document, that's not what we're doing. So to modify this, we're going to go back up to our table of contents styling. That's going to be Layout, Table of Contents. And we're going to play around with the settings in here. What this is saying is that every time we see a chapter next or a chapter title, this is the type of style that will be applied to it in the contents. So we do not want to use the numbered style. We want to use the unnumbered style. And we're also going to use the unnumbered style for the chapter title next ones. Let's go ahead and save style. And then click OK. Now, if we want to force all of these to be the same case, as apparently I did not type this one in all caps, so it's coming in as lowercase while the rest are all in caps, we can simply update the style for this. Let's go to our TOC chapter unnumbered, and we're going to make the case be all caps for all of them. There we go. Now we're all the same. If you want to move this around, that's fine. I could draw another box over here and allow the table of contents to flow onto just these two pages, kind of even them out a little bit. Whatever you want to do is fine. All right, so this document's looking pretty good. When it's time to export this document for print, we're going to go up to File, Export. Now we're going to export our PDF for Amazon and for Ingram Spark. For a non-bleed book, these are our settings. We're going to use the 2001 PDF preset. We're going to use pages, not spreads. This is all fine. This is all fine. I have no bleed in my book, so I'm not going to use the bleed settings. If you want to go ahead and convert your book into a grayscale format, if you're printing in grayscale, we can go ahead and do that here. I'm going to convert to destination. There's a bit of a glitch with this. I can't see the grayscale option until I toggle through here a couple different times. There we go. Now I can see the full list. I scroll down to the bottom. S gray is what I'm looking for. And when I click export, we're going to get a document that looks like this. If we scroll through and look for my single illustration, there we go. You should see it come in this grayscale. Oh, good. There's my image coming in grayscale. That all looks good. Now, if for some reason you did have a bleed in your document, this template is set up to contain a bleed. This red margin line around the outside is for your bleed. Any images or things that you wanted to go off the edges of the page would have to extend past that bleed line. All right, everyone. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment. That really helps us out. And spread the word. If you like our template, keep on using it. Encourage your friends to buy one. We've had people asking for these for a long time, so we're glad to be able to provide them to y'all. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.